Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our first 2022 Board Operations Committee meeting. It's very nice to see you all and hoping we'll have a very good year along with the Tigers. So first item, of course, will be our roll call. And if we can go ahead and call the roll, please.
Yes, Chair Corbett. Director Wieskamp.
Here.
Director Rosario.
Here.
Director Corbett.
Here.
AGM O'Connor.
Present.
And participants from staff and presenters participating in today's meeting also include Ann Castlebaum, Carlos Laird-Masters, Dan Cunning, Renee Patterson, Robert Kennedy, Steve Castile, and Tiffany Margolisi. And with that being said, today's meeting is being held pursuant to the Brown Act as amended by AB 361. Board members and staff may participate via video or phone conferencing. This meeting is a hybrid of in-person attendance with board members and designated staff. Today's meeting is being conducted virtually with live audio and video streaming provided. Public comments may be submitted live via Zoom, via email or voicemail as noted on the agenda located on the Park District website. So if there are no questions about the meeting procedures, we will begin.
Any questions, anyone? All right, well, we can go ahead and get started. Item 2 is our Big Break Caretaker Agreement, Big Break Regional Shoreline. You can go ahead and start with that really important presentation.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Business Services Manager Tiffany Margolisi, and I'll be presenting this item on the Big Break Caretaker. One moment while I share my screen. And
notes.
No, thank you. All right, here we are. So I want to thank our administrative analyst, Noah Dort, who handles the caretakers. He oversees this agreement with the caretaker and prepared this item. He's not here today, so I'm presenting it. So to just give an overview, here we are at Big Break Regional Shoreline. And I'm going to talk a little bit about where this is located. Here we see a beautiful view of it with the Delta map. Over here and a beautiful view of the water. We do have a caretaker here, and we've had one since 2012.
And my apologies, but it's a little hard to hear you at the moment.
Oh, okay.
That's a little echo.
Thank you. Oh, it's a little echo. Okay, let me turn up my volume.
At least that's what it was to me.
Yeah.
All right, I'll just speak a little louder. So my screen, is that a little bit better?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Usually people are telling me to be quieter, so a welcome change. Okay, so as I was saying, we have a caretaker here at Big Break since 2012, and his name is Nathan Lawrence. He's done a wonderful job. The staff is very happy with his services. Park Supervisor Carlos Laird-Masters is here, and Unit Manager Dan Cunning, if there are any questions. This map shows the Big Break shoreline, and the red arrow shows where the caretaker's trailer is located. And this is a zoomed in version showing where it's located. And just one more view, so we're all real sure where it is. Here's a satellite view showing where the caretaker is located. This trailer is owned by the caretaker. He takes care of it, he owns it, and parks it on site. His duties are to provide a security presence on weekday nights and weekend days and nights. And he opens and closes the public restroom. He opens and closes the parking lot gate. He does a routine patrol of the site and reports to the park supervisor at least 3 times a week. And Carlos, park supervisor, says often they're in communication even more frequently than that. Carlos has a wide service area, including parks in Bay Point. And so having a presence here to open and close the restrooms and the parking lot gate provides a very important operational service to the public and also supporting staff. Since we've been very happy with Mr. Lawrence's services, he has unique knowledge of the site. He already has his trailer set up there. We are coming with a recommendation to extend for up to a total of 5 years. So additional, an initial 2-year term with a possibility of 1 3-year extension. And we do pay Mr. Lawrence for his services. The cost is $6,000, nearly $7,000 for the first year. And as we have throughout his time providing these services, we have an annual increase of about 1.5% during the term, plus the district pays for the utilities, water and electricity. And with that, I'm going to stop the screen share and take any questions. And then I can also turn my microphone volume up. So hopefully everyone can hear me. Are there any questions on the Big Break Caretaker Agreement?
Do any of the board members have any comments or questions? Yes, Director Rosario.
In addition to the caretaker, is the building or the main facilities there at Big Break, are they also have an alarm system as well?
Carlos, Park Supervisor Carlos, would you like to answer that question?
Yes, thank you, Tiffany. Good afternoon, Director Rosario. Can you restate the question for me, please?
Are the facilities outside of the to augment the caretaker? Are the buildings and the facilities there alarmed?
Yes, Director Rosario. The visitor center has a separate independent alarm system, and the kayak shed, which is adjacent to Mr. Lawrence's residence, is also alarmed and monitored as well by Bay Alarm.
Okay, great. And then how do we cover the caretaker if he gets hurt on the job there or performing his duties?
Director Rosario, I don't have the answer to that question, so I'd have to defer to somebody else.
Yes, so back to me. That's a great question. So we have a standard template that we work with legal and risk on our caretaker agreement that covers his liability. He's not an employee. He is under our caretaker's agreement, services agreement.
So kind of like a contractor?
Correct. Yes.
That's correct.
Okay. Great. And is that included in the total fees for the park? That coverage? Or?
Are you talking about the park budget?
Yeah, as far as the $6,963.24, does that include his benefits?
That's correct.
Okay, great. Thank
I have
you.
a question.
Director Weiss-Kemp.
Is this a fairly quiet park in the evenings? I'm wondering if it's a calm place or not. Some of our parks have more nighttime activities than others, and I wondered about this one.
Carlos, I think that's to you.
Good afternoon, Director Weiskamp. So generally, Big Break Shoreline has been a very quiet park as far as after hours activity, criminal activity. Although lately we have seen an increase in property related crimes, namely 3 auto burglaries and one attempted catalytic converter theft. I believe it was interrupted, and we had a person that was being pursued by the Oakley Police Department in recent history. But you know, prior to this spike, it's been a very, very quiet park.
And I'm sure you're glad for that.
I absolutely am. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you.
And I have a question. Oh, Mr. O'Connor, would you like to make a comment?
Yeah, just a very quick, Chair Corbett, I appreciate that. Is just one thing I want to remind the committee is that when we first opened this park in 2012, we had a huge graffiti incident very shortly after we opened it. Almost
Yeah.
all of the structures down by the pier were hit with graffiti, which then prompted us to consider the caretaker. And Mr. Lawrence has been there since that point. He's done a great job helping us deter that after hours use. And he's been really critical to preserving this facility. So I just wanted to remind everybody that this caretaker has, Mr. Lawrence has provided a great service in terms of preserving this facility. It's been really beneficial.
Well, that's very nice to hear. Thank you. So I have a question. Could we take a look at that map again of the area or the photo, either one that shows where he stays and the rest of the facility?
Back a few slides.
Here we
Is
go.
this the one you were thinking of?
Fine.
Yes, that's fine. That's good enough. So I have a question about lights, evening lights. Are there lights in that park area after dark that help provide security?
Good afternoon, Director Corbett. Yes, there are lights starting at the entryway on Big Break Road, leading all the way out towards the water, but we don't have a lot of overhead light near the restrooms, near Nate's trailer. There are about 3 light fixtures on the kayak shed, which is just to the right of Mr. Lawrence's trailer, but that is the extent of the lighting out there right now.
Mm-hmm. Should there be any additional lighting added to provide security for at the evening times? And I have another question: is there any? I can't tell from this photo, but is there any gate system that closes down after hours in the evening?
Yes, Director Corbett, there is a front gate on Big Break Road, which is one of the items that Mr. Lawrence secures. Farther into the park, there's a secondary vehicle gate that remains locked almost all the time. It's only unlocked and open for park staff to come in and perform maintenance activities. As far as the lighting or lighting additions in the main recreational part of the park, I'd probably have to go out there at night or very early in the morning and take a look and see what I might suggest for additions.
Okay, that would be good to hear. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Corbett.
Yes, Mr. O'Connor.
Director Corbett, another thought on that, and maybe Dan may recall this from the design phase of this park, but because of its adjacency to the marsh and the potential impact on wildlife, I believe that's why there's very few lights out there. It's the same concept when we were designing Dumbarton, where we kept most of the lights that are within the campground very low, like bollard type lights. So that there may be limitations on the type of lighting that we can use out on this location because of its adjacency. And you might recall it's actually between 2 marshes. There's one that's closer to the main building, and then of course the main Big Break area. So that's just something we need to consider in terms of lighting.
Yeah, I think I'd just be most concerned about also the safety of the person who's staying there so that they don't have break-ins at night because it appears that nobody's staying there. It's too dark. But obviously we do need to be concerned about the wildlife as well. So taking a look at that is good. Figuring out what's the best thing to do. Thank you very much. But so far it sounds like most recently there hasn't been any issues. Mr. O'Connor, your sound is off.
I think Dan Cunning has a comment.
Dan's.
Oh, sorry. Yes, please.
Hi, Director Corbett.
Hello.
It's been fairly quiet out there, but we do attribute that a lot to the caretaker. As you might see on our log, as nearby as the Antioch Pier, that we have activity 24/7, and we fear that if we don't have a caretaker in this facility to be there for the visitor center, for the map area out, that was shown, we wouldn't want to see the same type of activity we see at Antioch Pier start to migrate into this area. So it's a huge factor for us to have a presence there. You know, the staff's there for maintenance and the visitor center staff during the day. So we're covered when, you know, our caretaker is at work. He works nearby. And then he's there on the weekends, and he's there most of the time. You know, he'll let Carlos know when he's not present or, you know, has something to do, but most of the time he is present. He's done a great job. He's kind of a quiet guy, and kind of, I'll just say, he just takes care of the simple things, and he does what we ask, and he's not a problem at all. So he's highly recommended to stay in that area so that we can maintain the current level of what the security and what the look of the whole, you know, Big Break Visitor Center area is.
Yeah, and we're not concerned about the safety of his facility either, by the way it looks right now, right?
No, I think he's been comfortable with the way that the situation is. There is one light pole that's right next to his trailer. So there is ambient light. And as AGM O'Connor had expressed, there's a fine line in between, you know, the amount of lumens that we can cast for security lighting, as well as the environmental factors. And some of the neighbors that were present in the neighborhood adjacent to that, you know, had concerns over the development of this area. So there is ambient light, so you can see. It's not bright like security lighting, but, you know, I think our design department tried to hit the happy medium to achieve a little bit of both.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much.
Sure.
And Director Rosario.
Just one thought is, what type of communication does the caretaker have? Is it just cell phone or landline or radio or both?
The best of my knowledge, Director Rosario, just a cell phone.
Okay,
Which is probably adequate.
okay.
And there's no issue with phone coverage in that area?
There has not been, Director Corbett, no.
Okay. Okay,
Thank you.
great. Any additional questions, anyone? Yes, Director Wieskamp.
I want to say that I suspect the neighbors are grateful for his presence and the fact that they all know about it and everybody else does, because it makes the neighborhood, I'm sure, feel safer too. Because I do remember when we first started this whole project, they were all, what are you going to do? And there's going to be all kinds of people coming and all this. So I think having his steadying presence there has probably been a very good thing for that neighborhood. So I appreciate his presence. And I don't think you need a great deal of light, and it sounds like we have enough. As long as he feels secure, I think it's good. I appreciate his willingness to continue.
Okay. And thank you very much for all of you on staff for looking out for him as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Any other comments, questions? Anything else to add? All right. Thank you very much.
Do we need a motion?
Yes, we need a motion on this item.
I will move that we approve the contract.
I
All right.
second.
Moved by Director Rosario and seconded by Director Wieskamp. Please call the roll.
Director Rosario,
Aye.
Director Wieskamp,
Aye.
Chair Corbett,
Aye.
so moved.
All right. Unanimously.
Unanimity is good, Ellen.
Yes, that too. So we look forward to a very positive park there. Very well loved. Okay, then we have our next item. Item 3, we're looking at our 2022 work plan.
Ambitious.
Hi there. Good afternoon. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. Hi, I'm Ruby Tumber, Management Analyst for the Operations Division. Our next item is the 2022 Committee Work Plan. A quick reminder on the process, our outgoing committee from last year had an opportunity to chime in on our work plan, and we added any sort of input that they provided. And this next time around, we bring the 2022 BOC, the same work plan, to get your input before it's ratified. Just to add, we can always add things throughout the years. This is by no means final, so we always welcome your input. And with that said, I'll go through it now. For policy reviews and recommendations, our two items for this year include a 2023 consolidated fee schedule review, along with a district-wide fee equity study. For concessionaire and special use agreement reviews and recommendations, we will be bringing forth the caretaker agreement, which you just saw, for Big Break Regional Shoreline, a review of the Redwood Valley Railway Agreement for Tilden Park, a review of the Seabreeze Cafe lease at McLaughlin East Shore, a review of the district-wide Beekeepers Agreement, a review of the PG&E Communication Site Agreement at Black Diamond Mines, a review of the Lake Chabot Marina RFP for Lake Chabot Regional Park, and the review of the Camp Arroyo Operator Agreement at Camp Arroyo, in addition to the review of the Taylor Family Foundation Agreement also at Camp Arroyo. We have a number of informational reports, discussion topics as well. These include the review of this work plan, which I'm doing right now. And then at the end of the year, we will be bringing forth our 2023 draft work plan. And we will bring forth a reservations program update, an annual update for Tidewater outreach, an interpretive and recreation services update for both regions, Southeast and Northwest, as well as updates from 3 of our park unit areas, rec areas, parkland, the parklands unit, excuse me, as well as the lake unit. We alternate year to year. So the ones that we didn't cover last year, we cover this year. I will be providing an annual review of the concession maintenance fund, concessions and special use revenues. We will get a review, an update from our mass department along with the camping program update. Tiffany will bring forth an update on our bridge yard concession at Judge John Sutter Regional Shoreline, along with a residence program update. And then I will also be providing an operation sustainability programs update, which I may actually be chopping up into a few different pieces throughout the year. With that said, I welcome any input for any additional items that the committee would like to add.
Thank you very much. Directors, do you have anything else you would like to add today? We do have the opportunity to add as we go along.
I think it's an ambitious list already.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I'll, I think we can wait until we can add on later. I think I will.
Manana.
But yeah, it's very ambitious.
It's amazing we get so much done every year.
Yeah.
Well, that's operations for you.
Mhm.
I've got to tell you, Ruby, every time I see those mushrooms, I am so impressed behind you. That is a gorgeous picture.
Can I ask a quick question about the district-wide beekeepers agreement?
Mhm.
So does that literally mean every single park is part of it?
I will refer to Business Services Manager Tiffany Margalisi on the details.
Director Furr, thank you for the question. District-wide does not necessarily mean every park would be involved. It just means that there's more than 2 parks. So I didn't want to list them all. We do have a number of beekeepers who have been operating in the parks and providing great benefit over the years. And we're working on, let's see. Oh, I'm being told to speak a little louder. We're working on just formalizing the beekeeper program. And we'll be bringing more details on that to you.
Do we have a list yet of the individuals who have beekeeper
Yes.
agreement?
Yes, I have a list of the current beekeepers, and we also have received requests for additional beekeepers who have expressed interest. And so part of staff's recommendation that we'll be bringing forward is to create a process by which somebody could become a new beekeeper, and making sure they have the correct insurance and have the correct coordination. we have some beekeepers who have been in our parks for more than 20 years and have very long-standing, very close relationships with the park. And it's great. That's wonderful. And we want to have a fair process for those that are interested in coming in new.
So we'll have a presentation at one of our meetings coming up that'll let us know who's all on the list and who's interested in adding themselves. Okay, will we be hearing that this spring or?
I hope so.
Okay, in the next couple of months, maybe. Okay, very good. Thank you so much. All right, Director Wieskamp.
I'd like to follow up on that. I know my daughter-in-law is one who strongly believes that local honey is very good for her allergies. And so I think it might be good for us to sort of maybe have a map of where they are so people in Fremont know, yes, there's local honey available. In Livermore, there's local honey, because there seemed to be a lot of merit in that honey thing. I know I've purchased honey from the gentleman who has had bees at Ardenwood, and it's quite nice. I think he sells at farmers markets sometimes too, but it's kind of one of those agricultural connections that I think is very good for the Park District to participate in. So honey is good.
Sounds good. All right, Mr. O'Connor.
Just one clarification I want to make, and I had asked Ruby to add in the sustainability programs update. As you know, Chair Corbett, the operations group, we are the point for greening our fleet district-wide, and I wanted to make sure that we kept this on the committees and the board's radar, because oftentimes, you know, these things come up and then 2 or 3 years later, you know, board members are wondering, well, where's that at? Is anything happening there? So I want to make sure we're a little bit more proactive in ensuring all of you that, yes, we are moving these things forward, and we want to make sure we report out on the work that staff is doing. So I think this will be really helpful, because I know yourself and Director Rosario and all of the board often have questions about our sustainability initiatives. So Ruby we're also working on water conservation. That's another big initiative that we're working on, especially around our irrigation systems, which is one of our primary water uses in parks. So anyway, that's what we're going to bring forward over the course of the year. So you're more informed about our activities in these sustainability areas. So anyway, I hope that'll help keep the board informed.
Thank you very much. And as you know, Mr. O'Connor, I do have a couple of questions about a couple of parks that you will answer later in the presentation, but we'll get to that. Director Rosario has his hand up.
Just curious, where does the water quality as far as drinking water? I know we instituted an analysis or a survey of our drinking fountains throughout the Park District for lead. Where is that going to come out of this committee, or does that come out of natural cultural resources?
Good question, Director Rosario. In fact, Matt Grawl had communicated with us recently. I believe that's going to come to Natural Cultural Resources. That survey was completed, and so they're ready to report out on their results. But I will also check in with Matt and tell him that you were asking that question and make sure we get back to you on that.
Good. And then I just wanted to say, I'm glad this is a good year for me to be on the operations committee, because I see most of my parks are covered in all the reviews. And so it looks like Roberts and is Temescal? Yeah, Temescal and Roberts are all in the same unit. And then I really would be interested in seeing where we're at Anthony Chabot Campground and the feasibility study, where we're at with that. And then, yeah, so.
Just a clarifying question, Director Rosario, the feasibility study, are you talking about the convenience camping, or are you talking about the utilities and water, et cetera?
The utilities and water.
Okay, we'll take a look at that and see if we can get a report out on that.
Great. And then is there, let's see, where would the consideration for the dredging of Lake Temescal come? Would that be executive committee or?
believe you're right. I believe you're right. Executive committee
Okay.
in terms of capital projects, correct?
Okay, great. Okay, things are coming in, flying out. So thank you.
Happy
Great, thank you.
2022.
Yeah.
Looking forward to a good year. All right. Any other comments or questions on this item? Looks like it. So thank you for that wonderful presentation. We're looking forward to all the additional information you'll give us throughout the year.
Oh, I just remembered one other thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I was just thinking of Roberts. Where would I, as you know, we're the pool is going to be closed for construction. Which committee would hear a possibility of extending our services to the city of Oakland by renting one of their pool facilities?
As a stopgap measure during the construction period.
Yeah.
Well, I can discuss that with the general manager.
Okay.
So we can bring that up.
Okay, great.
Now you're talking about services like swim lessons, those types of services that we provide.
Yeah, the services that we had provided at Roberts, if we can rent a pool from the city of Oakland, which they've been closing pools left and right, it would be nice to see the Oakland community have a swim facility that they can get to.
So you'd be talking about if they have a pool that's been closed because they're unable to operate it, that we would take that on for the closure period.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. Either that or a pool that they have that's open but is underutilized.
I know that lifeguard services. Oh, I'm sorry, Director Corbett.
Or perhaps a pool at a school,
Yeah, most
to
of
the
their
school district, perhaps.
most of their pools are at schools, except for Diamond Park.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, I will, and also, as you know, the swim lessons are handled through public safety through the lifeguard services. So I will
Right.
also reach out to Pete DeQuincy and see if he's already come up with contingency for those services. And let me bring it up with the general manager and see if we can report out the next meeting.
Great, thank you so much.
Okay.
Oh, yes,
Thank
that would be
you.
good to know. You don't want to have people miss swim lessons for a whole year.
no.
That would not be good. Okay,
Thank you very
great.
much. I think I'm done.
Oh, come on.
We appreciate you on the committee.
Absolutely.
All right. So our next item is public comments. Do we have any additional public comments today?
Chair Corbett, we have no public speakers at this time. We do, however, did receive comments submitted via email, which have been distributed to committee members, and a couple more received that I will distribute, and they will be entered into public record.
Thank you very much. I would just like to mention that the board members, we all had an opportunity to read
Yes.
the letters. We received them, and we are interested in those issues. In fact, let me call on Director Rosario. I think he might have a few comments with regard to those letters we received.
Yeah, in light of the comments from public comments, and I appreciate everyone taking the time to address their concerns, that I really think we need to take a hard look. Hopefully staff will take pause this project and take a hard look at the current location of this project and really investigate other alternatives. So that's what I'm hoping, and hopefully this can come before either this committee in the future as a separate issue, or as part of the annual review, or possibly a board meeting. So I will also ask, I'll be talking with the general manager as well. So again, I thank everyone for submitting their comments. Thank you.
This exists in your district, so thank you for your concerns. My quick question about this issue is that when the decision was made for these additional buildings and the work that's being done there, was this ever discussed in a public meeting to get any feedback from the public, individuals who use that park or live nearby?
Not that I'm aware of, Director Corbett. We were trying to solve a more immediate safety issue for staff.
Okay, all right. So thanks to Director Rosario's question, it sounds like we'll hear a little bit more about having an opportunity for people to make comments about their concerns.
Yes,
Right.
the general manager and I have been talking about this, and I know she's going to meet with Director Rosario on Friday.
Okay, very good. Okay, thank you very much. Yes, Denise.
Yes, Chair Corbett, one of the public comments that was submitted via email did join the meeting via Zoom, and I would like to admit him so he can make his comment.
Yes, of course. Yes, we have a public comment.
This is Sam Singer, and he's connecting now.
Thank you very much. And how much time does he have?
He has 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. Welcome, Mr. Was it Mr. Time? Welcome.
Mr. Singer,
Oh, Mr. Singer. Welcome, Mr. Singer.
you have 3 minutes to speak.
Good, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. I appreciate the comments made earlier by the board members. I'm here to talk about the Lake Temescal buildings that were put up, and I submitted a letter. There's just a great deal of concern by the neighbors and by people who use Temescal all the time that the storage containers in the parking lot that's been created at the south parking area, actually on the field, is a real distraction and a detriment to the nature of the park, to the people who use it. We had a very good conversation with Steve Castile, very respectful, very thoughtful. He obviously is a very dedicated fellow. I take my hat off to him and to the district. But I don't think, as Mr. O'Connor was saying earlier, that there was a sort of opportunity for public comment about the significant impact this has on nature, the enjoyment of the park, and the fact that it sort of takes commercial storage containers and puts them right in the middle of a nature area. And many of the neighbors would like to see the district reconsider this and put them in an area that's less filled with nature and maybe in a parking lot or back to where they originally were, and see if it's possible to ensure the safety of staff employees there. As a neighbor, as a lifelong resident of Berkeley, we're here to help in any way, and my email is there, and I know there are other concerned citizens. We love the park, we love the district, and we think the staff is wonderful. We'd just like to see a change to this particular policy, and I don't want to use up any more of your time, but thank you for allowing me to speak today.
Thank you very much for your comments, and thank you for loving the parks. All right. Are there any additional comments, Denise?
There are no additional comments.
Okay, thank you very much. I know we'll be taking a look at this and the other letters that we received earlier. Thank you. All right. So that means we'll go on to the next item, item 5, committee comments. Any board members have anything they'd like to add? Director Wieskamp.
I have a question. I think we've all noticed I own a Prius, and I had the cover put over it, which seems ridiculous, but looking at what happened, we had quite a rash of the thefts in Livermore, the Cadillac theft. And I've noticed throughout the district in various parking lots, would it be wise for us to try to send out online and whatever's appropriate warning people? It's not a good idea to leave it in a parking lot when you're going to be hiking for 2 or 3 hours. It's just such an opportunity for people to do the wrong thing. I don't know what the best approach is, whether that should be through the police or operations or what, but I think some people just don't think, they love our parks, they think everything's going to be perfect, and they may not think about the fact that their car is vulnerable. And it's quite expensive, I gather, to replace the whole thing.
Yeah, thank you, Director Wieskamp. I've lost my parts on my Prius and had to put the new
The cover.
and hopefully that works. But Mr. O'Connor, do you have some comments? I don't know whether we've had a high number of issues with regard to that at our parks or not. But it obviously is a really terrible thing when you lose that in your car. It costs a bit of money.
It's
And
a
your
very
problems.
good point. It's a very expensive proposition for the catalytic converters. And we have had actually a lot of our staff vehicles impacted, their personal vehicles and our district vehicles impacted more recently, even here at our park headquarters. Going to Director Wieskamp's initial comments, you may recall that over the last few years, we've done a lot of outreach working with in concert with public safety and public affairs to get the word out to folks that these parking lots have problems. We still have people, for some reason, I'm not sure why, but they leave things in their car. Like when I hike now, if I have something like a computer, I actually take it with me and just hike with it because I don't leave anything in my car anymore. Often the problem is that people get to the trailhead and out right in front of everybody, they take all their expensive stuff and put it in their trunk, close the trunk, and then go off for a hike, which is another one where it's like that should be done somewhere offsite so people don't know that you're putting it in there, because we have these people, these thieves sit in the parking lots, sure, observe all this, and then take advantage of it. But more specifically to your comment, Dr. Wieskamp, is we have signage in the parks. We have warnings on our website. I'm not sure what we can do about the catalytic converters, because these thieves have become very sophisticated and they can do this very quickly with a battery operated Sawzall. You're right. I think eventually the manufacturers are going to have to do something about this as part of your original equipment on your vehicle, because this is just becoming so widespread. I know a lot of the district attorneys are also working to cut off the people who are buying this material, because they cut these open, they drain out the platinum dust that's inside of this, and that's what they're selling back to recyclers. So I know there's a lot of work on both ends of this, but
Right.
it's an important comment, and I'm glad you actually brought it up, and to the people that may watch this recording or may be listening, because people really have to be careful about this. And I know it's on our police department's radar for keeping after this, especially even for our own vehicles, because we've had this more recent issue.
I can tell you that there were laws passed a number of years ago to prohibit the ability to sell those parts, especially once they've been stolen from a car. But for some reason, the reinforcement to go after folks for that is not happening. So there's that's not our fault, but I won't talk about that. That some of the laws should be reinforced. But anyway, Director Wieskamp.
I did just read that the new cars coming out, it's totally different, and they will not have that type of system. So it will not be the attraction. I keep thinking that maybe we could simply send out a news bulletin, and I myself watch Channel 7. They're very good about talking about public service stuff. And they say, hey, before you go out to your local parks, be aware. If you're going to be, don't leave, as Jim O'Connor just said, X, Y, and Z. Don't do it when you get to the parking lot. Do everything beforehand, because thieves could be there. And when it comes to taking your car, if you can possibly find something that doesn't have this wonderful little attractive Cadillac thing, don't bring it here. I think all the news people would be glad to broadcast and remind them, you're going to enjoy the parks. Do the right thing so it won't become a miserable experience. Don't leave valuable stuff there. And if you have another car, or do what we have both done, Ellen and I, get a cover on it. It's a lot less expensive than replacement plus the cover. I know that. I just want us to make as much as possible to be as safe an experience as possible.
Yeah.
Thank you, Director Wieskamp. Director Rosario.
My wife's car got hit in front of our house.
In front of your house.
But anyway, regarding the Peralta Oaks, do we have cameras up there?
We do. We do have cameras. but we are expanding that, I believe, and adding some lighting also. Plus, Director Rosario, we're also, our fleet mechanics are working with a contractor to install a guard system to prevent this in the future using hardened steel, et cetera. So we're working on it kind of on both ends of it, on the prevention side, from the security perspective, and also from the making it more difficult to remove these devices.
Yeah, well, maybe we can advocate in Sacramento for some kind of a task force to deal with this and help the local district attorneys to figure out what the just follow the trail. Somebody's making money off it, so.
Well, assure
Yeah.
that the district attorneys are actually,
they're working.
doing something about
Yeah.
this.
They have found some of them too and retrieved quite a few.
We would appreciate that on this issue. All right. I have, Director Rosario, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I just saw a couple of emails quickly that there's another public speaker possibly that got in late.
Director Rosario, we have nobody that's entered the waiting room at this time.
I just got a note here from Yolanda.
Yes, I'm viewing the participants and I
Okay.
don't show anyone in our waiting room at this time.
Okay.
So anybody that's listening, have you gotten into the right room? If you're interested in speaking, please push the right buttons if you'd like to be heard. If we see you, we will, of course, allow you to speak, but we have to see you. Okay. I have a couple of comments. Maybe they'll pop up in the meantime. Do you have anything else, Director Rosario?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay.
Good report.
Okay, yes, great. In looking at the special use agreement reviews and recommendations and some of the other reports and discussion topics, it made me think about a couple of parks that I'm hoping to hear more about this year. I want to, first of all, thank Mr. O'Connor, and also, the fact that we actually supported the filming of the Martin Luther King event with some funding, since we couldn't do that in person. We did it by film, and we had the opportunity not only to talk about the history of the Martin Luther King Shoreline Park, but the naming of it and all of the amazing work that the committee that supports students and others for the amazing work they do for the Martin Luther King facilities, and to remember the history, the important history of that gentleman who is, we still think about the important work that needs to be done based on what he taught us about when some of us were just in grammar school back then. But in any event, so thank you for your support of that. And I just wanted to mention, I'm hoping we can get some more discussion about what's going on at the Martin Luther King Park, when we will have additional work finished at the facility there. And also if we can take a look at some of the signage and other work that's done at that park that's going to need some improvements. I'm hoping to hear more about what's going on there. But we did have a really nice opportunity to show the beauty of the park off at this, the movie that showed on Martin Luther King Day. So thank you very much, by the way, Mr. O'Connor, for your work in ensuring we had a spot to go in case it decided to rain the day we were filming. So thank you for that. And then, so hopefully you can talk about that a little bit, but also I wanted to I hope that we have an opportunity to hear more about what's going on at the Alameda Naval Air Station and what's going to be done there. And maybe that's something you could add as well when you have an opportunity to answer that, what we're doing to finish up some of that work that unfortunately has been impacted because of, COVID and a few of the things that's getting in our way.
Yeah. Well, Director Corbett, you're welcome. And just to clarify, the committee is that the Martin Luther King March and Rally Committee? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, and they every year do an event to commemorate Dr. King's birthday. And
Yes.
unfortunately, with everything we're all dealing with, it wasn't able to happen. But I'm glad we could support the filming. And hopefully, I'm going to guess that's on the committee's website or the Freedom Center's website, I believe, right?
It's on our website, East Bay Regional Park.
Oh, great. Okay, good. Well, thanks for that shout out. And I did promise you an AGM comments. Have we moved on to the AGM comments?
Oh, does anyone else, any other board members have anything else they'd like to say before we get to the Assistant General Manager comment? Okay, I guess we're on that item.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to the three of you for agreeing to be on the Operations Committee, and welcome back, Director Rosario. Glad to see you back on the Operations Committee. This is the best committee, of course, because we talk about everything that's going on district-wide. So just a shameless self-promotion there for our committee. I think we're going to see a lot. We get through a lot every year, as all of you have said. And I want to just give a quick update. Director Corbett had asked me what was happening at the Shoreline Center at Martin Luther King. And this is one of those, the way we get through things is through different phases. So this is a project that's working through in phases. And Sarah Lermborn, our reservoir facility supervisor, has done a great job of trying to spruce up this facility and hopefully make it more marketable into the future and bring people into what is a beautiful location that a lot of people don't know about along the San Leandro Bay there. So last year, Sarah completed painting of the roof, and that was a great project. It looks nice, really nice now. And what we're doing this year, the current project is we're replacing the gutters and the siding on the building. As you know, this location gets a lot of impact due to salt water, salt air. And so anything along the shoreline has it's really challenging to maintain facilities along the shoreline. So what we're doing right now is replacing all of that siding and the gutters, and then we're going to repaint the facility so it'll look really nice. And then, as was discussed in this committee last year and requested by Director Corbett, we've also put in for a project which will replace the deck that's attached to the Shoreline Center and also do some improvements to the Pelican group area, which is directly adjacent to that Shoreline Center facility. So it'll make it a much more comprehensive facility where a group could rent that facility, have an outdoor event, also have the indoor space, but have a really nice connection between the Pelican group area and the Shoreline Center. I think we're working right now on the design. We're going out to RFP for the design for that facility. And then hopefully construction will start sometime this fall on those improvements. So we're also working right now on updating the audio-visual system within the Shoreline Center and make it much more appealing for using the facility for groups that use the facility. So we're working on that right now. That's in process and it'll be done by the end of the year. So hopefully that'll answer some of your questions, Director Corbett, or if any of the committee members have questions. We also have Tiffany here who can help answer your questions regarding Shoreline Center.
The one other thing that I hope we're looking at is some of the signage through that park. Unfortunately, it's been there for a long time and it really needs some attention. Probably some new signage to replace what we've got there. That would be really nice for that park. That make it look a little bit like some of our other parks with newer signage and colorful photos and such things.
Are you talking about the interpretive signage, or are you talking about just the directional signage?
Interpretive mostly, but we really should take a look at all of the signage out in that park and make a list of whether it's about time to replace some of it.
So noted. Thank you for the input.
Thank you so much.
And that's all I have for the committee.
Great. Thank you very much. Anybody else want to say anything before we go ahead and adjourn?
One last thing. I just wanted to say that I'm really appreciating the new interpretive panels in our bulletin boards, informational panels at the park staging areas. They're really nice and informative, and they look good. They look really good. So congratulations to park staff and to our graphics. So
Great.
Very nice.
Let's do that everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the intent, Director Corbett, is to roll that out as our new design standard. As you know, and Director Rosario knows this from being in the parks, those things weigh about a ton.
Yeah.
And when you try to install them, and then they get rusted out at the bottom because of dogs, et cetera. So they are problematic, and the new ones are definitely a much better design. Hats off to Jonathan Hobbs and the group at the Creative Design Group working with park staff to come up with this final design. So we are slowly rolling this out throughout the park system.
Sounds great. Thank you very much. Any other comments?
Thanks for a great meeting.
Yeah, we're ending right on time, 4 minutes.
Wow.
All right. Well, wonderful to see all of you. See you at the next meeting soon.
Take
Bye now.
care.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Alex.
Thank you, everybody.